it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. I have done many videos using fun foam as stamps. You can die cut it, you can hand cut it, and it works brilliantly for stamping. The results are brilliant. I released a video not too long ago showing some really fun ways that we're able to use that, and then I started to go off on a tangent, and so I wanted to continue this. I asked if you'd like to see a video, and then this is kind of the result. So all you do is start off with some fun foam. Now I created these weird looking splotchy shapes, and I'm using my Cutter-Bee fine detail scissors. A pair of fine detail scissors does work really well for this rather than some big long bladed ones, so they are very handy. And the way that I use these stamps is I just put some double-sided tape onto an acrylic block. Then this is where I went ahead and created these gorgeous flowers. So this inner splotchy part, I made some small ones, some big ones, all sorts of shapes. And then to get the detail on my larger petals, I just used a little molding tool with a ball end, and I just pressed into the foam, and then you get these gorgeous details. And this started to create these gorgeous flowers. Now, as I said, I created all different sizes of splotches to go in the middle. This one here was a little bit larger. I created some smaller ones, I created the petals, everything I created by hand from fun foam. Now, I prefer to use the versafineclair pigment inks when I am stamping with fun foam, mainly because these are just the most reliable stamping inks in my opinion. They stamp beautifully every single time, so I tend to get the best results, whether it be stamping with fun foam, stamping with photopolymer stamps, stamping with red rubber stamps, cling stamps, all of the above. I find that Versafineclair is extremely reliable, and that's what I like. Now, this is where I started to go off on my tangent, and these were of course meant to be the insides of the flowers, but I thought, wow, I could really turn this into something else, and then my mind went off on a whole nother tangent, and I decided to turn it into another video rather than making one extremely long video, trying to keep the topics a little bit separate. So if you are interested, I will link the flower video down below. It truly took me no time at all to create a whole set of cards, but here I decided to go ahead and create some other shapes as well. So out of that fun foam, I am going to create a heart. I have hand drawn this, well, not even hand drawn it, I just drew it with my scissors, so to speak. And then I'm going to take some darker, this is the dark blue ink. This happens to be medieval blue is the color, and I'm going to create a background again. Now with these splotches, because obviously all the spikes and things that I had going out, I couldn't create enough of them. It just wasn't going to cut like that with my scissors, so if I stamp them twice it ends up looking like the inside of a flower to me. But of course, as I said, I then started to get other ideas for what I could do with these. Now I am going to stamp out a background of these, and at the moment, I mean, you could probably even just use this as a background. It looks fine, it looks adequate and nice and clean and simple, and I like that very much. But I did think of something that we would be able to do with these. Now I created a few backgrounds. I'm going to move on to the hearts now, just to show you what I did with them. I picked 3 inks. I'm going to pick the Charming Pink, the Purple Delight, and the Monarch. Monarch is the darkest purple. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about these inks, I did a full review on these not too long ago, only a few videos ago, and I also, it's just sort of my suggestions and my very personal opinions on if you wanted to invest in these inks, which ones I would have invested in first, if I could go back and do it again, and which ones I think were the biggest value, and how to kind of get the best value for inks. Because obviously not many are able to kind of dive in and just purchase 20 ink pads at once or something like that. It's so expensive. This is an expensive hobby at times, and we have to learn to make do and sometimes purchase things slowly as funds allow. And so there are ways, even with one ink pad, to get 3 different shades, and that means that you can do all of these layering techniques and all of these different techniques without having to purchase the different ink pads. Now, as I said, I'll try and remember to leave a link to that video, but if you just look up my channel and the Versafineclair inks, then I'm sure it will pop up as well. Now with this one, I just had the 3 colors. I had no idea what I was doing. I originally wanted to create some gaps and some patterns. That didn't happen at all. So then I was just really going through these. I'm using the same heart for all 3 colors. And all you need to do in between hand with fun foam is wipe it off with a damp cloth or a baby wipe or something like that, and you are going to get no color transfer at all. You may stain the fun foam. In this case, I'm just using yellow because that's what the kids left me after they were done playing with it, and it was the kind of big enough scrap to use, but it may stain the fun foam, but you'll get no transfer at all, and that's another thing I love. Now for this one, I'm going to use these Uni-Ball gel pens. They came in a pack of 3, and I don't know why, but I have more success with the white pens when I buy them in these bigger packs. I'm sure they are exactly the same thing, and maybe it's a mind over matter thing for me. But when I have purchased them individually, maybe it's because they've been open stock and they are, I don't know why, but I have much more success with the opacity of them, how opaque they are, when I purchase them in a set. Don't know why, maybe that's just my mind. But anyhow, adding some small details to turn these into flowers. And the simple gold gel pen has so much effect on these gorgeous, what I'm going to turn into flowers. Now, of course, on my previous video, these were just the insides of the flowers, the inner part. But here we are going to pretty much just turn these in with some hand-drawn effects into gorgeous little flowers. Now, there is no rhyme or reason. You don't have to be perfect. I saw the opportunity to kind of do these little leaves here. I don't know what to call them, these little petals. And it really just worked out really well. And I used several different blobby shapes and did this on lots of the card fronts. And it worked out no matter kind of what design I had, because I certainly didn't turn the stamp perfectly every time. Every single flower background is different, and so this still worked out really well, and I think we have changed the look of this significantly already just doing this one step. And of course it has that gorgeous little element of shine to it as well. So I wanted to show you some more, so we're going to move on to the hearts, and this is just the plain white gel pen. And at this point I am just doodling. I have no plan, no ideas of what I'm going to do. I like adding the details. The hearts look gorgeous as is, but I thought adding in some more details is going to be fun, and this can create into like a proper card rather than just being a background. Now I am going to show you a finished card today, and it is going to be truly a hand-drawn. I think this may be the first time ever that I have done a handwritten sentiment, mainly because I don't like my handwriting and I don't like how it looks, but I think this card ends up okay, and it truly is very handmade, right from the shape of the stamps. Of course I used purchased inks, but yeah, everything, this felt like a very handmade card, and I love the outcome of it. So hopefully you have all of the ingredients, all of the bits and pieces that you are able to create these at home as well. So I just went through, I did some dots, I just left some with the doodles, I did some stripes, I did some sort of a line and some dots, finer dots, and I really was just playing, and I didn't want every heart to be completely filled in, and I think again this just added something nice to the hearts and the stamping and the card. Now for this one, this is another background that I created similar to the first one, and I am just going to do a similar thing where I change it up and just add a different kind of pattern to each background. I certainly could have done the flowers again. I just wanted to show you some different options in case that wasn't your thing. You could do the same pattern on all of these, or you could change it up like I have done and do different ones on every single one. These are not complicated at all. There are dots. I'm literally doing triangles on this one, just little triangles, and it is just something different for each of the flowers. I choose 3 or 4 patterns, and then I repeat these throughout the rest of the backgrounds. So if you are interested in giving this technique a go, or you have made some cards similar to this, you're inspired by this technique, I would love to see them. And we have an amazing community over on our Facebook page that is called Come Crafting with Natasha, and we have just an absolutely gorgeous community. They are so supportive, kind and caring. So if you'd like to join that, either type into Facebook and search Come Crafting with Natasha, or as usual I will leave links down below for you to just click on it and it will take you straight there. Now this is where I'm going to finish off into the sentiments. I'm stamping the mid one. I think this is the Purple Delight, and the exact same stamp that we stamped the background with, and then I'm just going to take this white gel pen. This was my practice run, and you can see that I'm going to run out of room, and at this point I realize this is just a practice one, so I'm just kind of figuring out where I need to put everything. This card was going into for a friend in particular, so I just wanted to say you are awesome. I didn't have any stamps that were going to fit perfectly. I didn't have the right font, they weren't small enough, and so I decided to just write it with my own handwriting. Very plain, very simple, but I think this ends up just fine. I'm going to fussy cut this one out with my little Cutter Bee scissors again. Again, these little fine tip scissors are absolutely something that I use in every single card that I make. I couldn't recommend them enough. I've had them for 7, 8, 9 years now, and I've never ever sharpened them, and just use the exact same pair that I very first started off with. Now I am going to trim this down a little bit. This is just because I like having a border on my cards, and this was a card front at this point, so I'm going to pop this down onto a card base. I'm going to make a little border using the same Purple Delight out of that one that we stamped for the sentiment, just because it all matches and it felt like this would go nicely. I thought the card needed a little border because there was so much white from the background of the hearts, and when I put that down onto a white background for a card, it was just going to be a lot of white space. So you can either choose if you are a border person or a matting person, but you don't have to at all. Now from here, pop it down onto a card base, and this is actually going to be the only card that I show you finished today. I filmed a whole other card being finished, turned into an actual card from the darker blue splotches that we created and did the gel pens on as well, and I don't know where the footage went. I'm not sure if my camera even recorded it, so this time it is just one, I'm afraid. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed where this tangent took me. The fun foam stamping is one of my favorite things to do in card making because it is so simple. It is so easy to achieve results that are different from what come in packages and stamps and things like that, and you can create exactly what you want. Other than that, I will have any of the links that I have mentioned in the video. They will be linked below, as well as links to the products I've used in this video. And other than that, I will see you in the next one. Thanks, bye!